Greetings and salutations, everyone! My name is Fire Mage, and welcome back to Rimworld Ascension Take 2, Episode 23. If you enjoy this episode, please remember to like and subscribe, and as always, mod list is down in the description. And with that, let's get on to the episode. Alright, well, picking up after the interesting episode we had last time, what are my plans for today? Well, my plans for today are going to be relatively simple, seeing as we did lose quite a few valuable colonists. I plan to be finishing up at least the first half of the road system, as well as, now that it is officially spring, focusing more on getting my crops ready, because we used all of it over the course of the winter somehow, except for the ridiculous amount of flour we have. But we are out of everything else, so we need to go ahead and start off by finishing tilling the potato fields. Oh, and it would appear that our Thrumbo is having a heart attack. That is not the best. Well, it should be returning to its resting point so that we can tend to it, which is good. Would be rather unfortunate to lose our Thrumbo because of a heart attack. And unfortunately, it would appear that the Thrumbo has passed and burned through some of our medicine. That is unfortunate, but that is what we get for taming a Thrumbo with an artery blockage. It is unfortunate, but we will butcher Thrumbo 1, and at the very least we'll get some use out of him that way. That is really unfortunate, though. I was really hoping we could get that Thrumbo all kitted out with some cool armor and whatnot. And the potato field has been fully tilled, finally. Which means we can now re-allow sowing, so we can get that field going. Meanwhile, I have also gone ahead and begun thinning the animal population in our farms. We are going to have a lot more corpses in the freezer, but that should hopefully free up some of our time and resources. Now, in other news, Carrie has actually almost finished the road, but is out of food. So hopefully they will be able to finish up this last segment here and then make their way back. Of course, if they have a mental breakdown, that could be an issue as well, which it would appear they are on the verge of. So this is going to be a bit of a risky gamble, but if it works, we will have a completed road. Also, given the amount of corpses we now have in the freezer, I think it's about time we go ahead and build a meat hook so that we can store them a bit more space efficiently. Go ahead and have Coog prioritize working on that. Get that done. And Coog did not fail. Very good on Coog. Let's make sure we set that to priority critical. And that should mean that instead of just dropping the corpses in the general area, they will now put them on the meat hook. Save us some space. And there we go. Meat drying has been researched. Very good. That will hopefully allow us to start preserving our meat for longer trips. In the meantime, I suppose we could start researching beacons. While not something that we are likely to use, it could prove beneficial in the future. And Carrie has now officially finished half of the road building project. I think, unless I can build one connecting directly to the settlement, but I do not know about that. What I do know is Carrie is about to starve to death. So they're now going to make their way back to Bodaka so that they can get some actual food that's not berries. But we now have a path connecting us to the primary road system. Very nice. Very nice indeed. And it looks like Coog has also just about wrapped up the potato field, which means we are now going to get to work on the other potato field. Need to make sure we're growing as much as possible after all. And there she is. Carrie has successfully returned safe and sound, if a tad hungry. Nothing that a good meal can't solve, and if there's one thing we have plenty of right now, it is good meals. As well as just a very plentiful amount of meat. Speaking of meat, I do believe that it is time we set up some meat drying racks. And we'll just put it right here. We'll only make one. And for once, steel isn't the holdup, it's wood, which we are completely out of. And another Garulian pod. Oh, and it spawned right in the goose pen. Well, that's convenient. Means I don't have to go too far to get it. I believe that will be our third, I want to say. I believe we had one harvested up here a while ago. Then, of course, we have this one. So that is quite nice. That means we could get more Garulians if we wanted. Of course, my farmers are a bit preoccupied doing other, more important things currently, but, you know, for future work, that could be quite useful. You know, considering how we have more than enough meals on standby for a few days, I think we should send Sappy out on our first trade caravan on the new road. We have lots of stuff that I need to dispose of, and I think going and selling it to our allies will be the most prudent method of doing so. Lots of stuff that I just generally don't need or won't use. Mainly leathers, of course. Hopefully, we'll be able to get some good stuff, though. Perhaps we'll be able to get some fancy weapons, or most likely we'll just buy medicine. But you never know what we might find. Let's also send Sappy along with a handful of our younger cats, so that we can free up Sam a little bit. And of course, let's make sure they take enough food to last at least a few days. 4 simple grills should do the trick. Alright, and that'll be Sappy going off. But, of course, we do still have another caravan that also needs to be launched, that being Vera, once again, to go and continue construction. Now, we'll send Vera along with 1 day worth of food in terms of grilled meals, but we'll also send them along with some chocolate so that she has something else to eat as well, on top of foraging. And if all goes according to plan, it should link up somewhere over here, which will then allow us to access the actual asphalt road and start interacting with these guys over here a bit more, as opposed to solely Tusla. Let's see. Considering most settlements are simply built next to a road, and I'm not exactly sure if that'll spawn it on the map. I doubt it would, but better safe than sorry. I think we will instead simply begin the road going here, which will link it up to right here. That'll be convenient. And look how much faster Sappy is moving thanks to that little pathway. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it does speed them up quite a bit. And there we go. The first step on another, arguably longer, road building journey for Vera. And the shuttle has arrived for our prisoner. About time. Let's go ahead and offload Oswee. And looks like Sappy has arrived at Tusla as well. Well, let's focus on that first. Starting off with our trading, let's go ahead, offload all of the cats, all of the leathers, and the Thrumbo horn, which nets us a grand total of 3,543 silver. However, they only have 1,676, which means we have quite a comfortable margin to go shopping with. I think the first thing we're going to do is get this Principles of Devil Strand cultivation, because I haven't researched Devil Strand yet, and I would like to at some point, and that'll get it done even faster. Let's also, of course, buy as much medicine as we can. Can never go wrong with that. And it looks like they do in fact have steel. Unfortunately, I forgot, steel is heavy. That might be a problem. Alright, 100 steel seems to be pretty close to the maximum amount we can carry. And we're still making more profit than they actually have money, which is an issue. Well, they certainly do have a myriad of interesting weapons. An Eltex mace could certainly be useful, albeit rather pricey. Lots of options, if I do say so myself. Well, now, isn't that interesting? We actually have enough that we could buy these digestible resurrector nanites. Interesting. Well, it would take most of our money, however, it is essentially a guaranteed revive on any colonist. It would be very good to get, however, I'm not entirely sure if it would fit with the theme. I mean, most of our people at this point are from more industrial factions, and these guys do have it, so they clearly understand what it does. It is really expensive. And I would lose out on practically all of my profit that I could get. But considering we just lost some of our most important colonists, I think it's going to be worth it. We'll still come away with a profit of 192 silver. But we will be getting digestible resurrector nanites instead of a bunch of money. Although there is certainly plenty of other stuff I would like to buy as well. And we did bring our silver, but I'd rather save it, honestly. And now, with that trading mission done, we send Sapion back to Bodaka. And our relationship has gone from 12 to 17 with those guys. Very good. And of course, I did not forget, it is time to finally finish off this quest. And that makes our relationship with the Fallen Empire go from 12 to 26. Oh. And apparently they sent me a gift. Somewhere. It wasn't clickable, so I'm not entirely sure where it is, but apparently they sent me a gift. And there we go. Potato field number 2 is now fully tilled and ready to be planted. By the time Coog is done with this, the corn will probably be done. Oh, and it looks like Krine has made a masterwork steel armor. Well, I certainly won't complain about that. In fact, Krine, since you went ahead and made that masterwork armor. Why don't you put it on? I think that is quite fitting. Also, I think I'm going to go ahead and drop the last plate armor order. I don't think we really need it anymore. 2 suits of plate armor should be more than enough. So it has just occurred to me that I sent the wrong person out to go do constructing. I was wondering why we weren't doing any research. I sent Vera to construct, not Carrie. Oops, I'm only just realizing this now because I noticed Carrie working on the ideology room, which is something we need to get done, don't get me wrong, but I mean, research is also kind of important. So, we're going to have Vera start making her way back. I can't believe I made that mistake. Silly me. But I mean, Carrie's making great progress on the ideology room, so can't really complain too much, I guess. I kind of forgot I was working on that, honestly. Alright, there we go. Vera is back. Took her less than a day. Let's make sure we send the right person out this time. And of course, make sure we send them with enough food to not starve to death. See, things like this are why I want to build the road. This trading caravan is going to Tusla, which means they're likely going to end up cutting across around about here. And with this road, hopefully, they will instead choose to go by us, perhaps even stopping in, or at the very least being close enough that we can actually intercept them and trade with them on our own accord. Of course, that is assuming that they decide to use our dirt path as opposed to just wandering through the wilderness, which hopefully they will. No promises, but hopefully they will. And there we go. The meat drying rack is now built. Admittedly, it is only one meat drying rack, but that is all that we need. Let's go ahead and get it filled and get it working. So I'm hoping that this will allow us to preserve our meat for longer periods of time. Speaking of our meat, I'm noticing that these doors are being opened so frequently that our meat is spoiling. That is an issue. That is a very big issue. If our meat spoils, then, well, that's a lot of meat going bad. I'm going to go ahead and prevent them from going in there, and hopefully we'll get enough wood to build another large cooler. But that does bring up an interesting point that I should put on the list, and that is I need to build an airlock system for the freezer. Because if this is going to continue to be a problem, then I can't afford to risk all my food going bad. And, well, with summer coming, it's gonna get warm, and I can't afford to lose all of my food. And it looks like Krine has finally managed to make all of the parkas. We got a lot of them. So hopefully next time we get hit with a cold snap, no one freezes to death. Hopefully. Hopefully no one freezes to death. And it looks like Carrie has gained a Psylink level somehow. Not entirely sure how that happened, given that they are currently out in the middle of nowhere building a road. But, I mean, that's pretty cool, I guess. I mean, I can't give them the level up while they're out there. Once they get back, though, that'll be pretty nifty. Pretty nifty indeed. I really don't know how they gained a Psylink level. In other news, apparently Vera has finished researching beacons. You know what? Next up, let's research the longbow. I think that'll prove to be quite useful. A nice long-range weapon. Of course, the longbow isn't what I really want. What I really want is the crossbow. Good against armored enemies, which is probably going to be our biggest weakness, all things considered. Armor is the one thing we can't really beat. And there it is. The bad event, if it can be called that. A meteor shower destroying my boat, my dock, and it dropped me uranium, plasteel, limestone, and sandstone. What a drop. A bit annoying, considering I built that boat, but considering it wasn't very useful, like at all, not too much of value was really lost. The dock, honestly, is more annoying to have lost, but it'll work. Plus, now I have uranium and plasteel, as well as limestone and sandstone, which aren't necessarily useful, but hey, I have them anyway. Ugh. Most annoying part, though, is they landed right in the middle of the river. And that means I am now going to have to give a mining order to mine them completely. And considering I don't really have anyone who's the best at mining, this is going to take a while. And there it is. The path is now complete, which means we can check that off. The road system has been connected, which means Carrie can now go ahead and start making her way on back. And it looks like a trading caravan is in fact taking our road. So this is actually, I believe, the trading caravan we saw earlier, which was taking a shortcut here, which means it works. Also, Crine has made another masterwork, a blue fur tunic. And a group from the Fallen Empire are visiting the colony. A lot of stuff happening all at once. And for that reason, I think I'm going to leave this episode off here. We have made quite a bit of progress, honestly. That pathway is going to be super useful, and eventually we can even upgrade it to a maximum of a stone road, I believe. Maybe it goes further than that, but those are the only 3 options I've seen so far, so not going to make any assumptions beyond that. We have also gotten the farms done, a huge trading mission done, and which has given us a one-time use revive on any colonist, but we have to use it preemptively, so we need to pick a colonist to do that to. If anyone has any suggestions on who I should use it on, leave it in the comments, because I'm way too indecisive to make such an important decision like that. It was another bit of a chill episode, which, honestly, after last episode, kind of warranted, honestly. But I'm sure eventually something else will crop up to get us back on track in terms of who exactly we're dealing with as a storyteller, that being Randy Random. With all that said and done, though, I will see you all in the next episode.